In the heart of South Carolina, swamp under moonlit
Hey everybody, if you hear that
skies.
music,
Crooked
you know
sheriffs
what
and
time it
ghostly
is.
tales.
It is
They
Swamp
whisper,
Justice
they
Radio
arise. Gator
here on
sightings and
97.7
midnight
FM
chases
WVFF.
through the thick, dark
And we are
mist.
going to be talking, let me turn this music
Stories
down a little
of
bit.
swamp
We are going to
justice.
be talking today and to Jennifer Whitlow. She is part of the family of Donnie Birchfield Jr. and Donnie Birchfield Sr. And we've been doing some in-depth investigation into this case. That case just had a bond hearing that I attended not too long ago. And there was some interesting things that happened during that bond hearing. I want to go over that a little bit with Jennifer and talk a little bit about her history with the family and what she thought of the bond hearing. This, of course, is Donnie Birchfield Jr. He is a person who is under arrest in Lancaster County, South Carolina, for multiple charges, one of them being murder, and that is the main charge. There are other financial crimes that are alleged in this particular case. We call it the House of Horrors because there were individuals, one who died in that house, and we're going to talk about that and what the defense had to say. And so I'm going to bring her on stage right now. Jennifer, welcome back to the show. Interesting developments in this case since the last time we talked. And I think when we spoke to you, we kind of went in depth a little bit about your lifelong relationship with Donnie Sr., which he is your
uncle.
He is your uncle. And by age, how long how far apart are you two?
We're 8 years apart.
8
I'm
years
8
apart.
years.
Okay, and Jennifer, you can go back and look at some of our reporting on this and some of our podcasts that we did on this. So I'm not going to get too much into the weeds on this because it's a very emotional thing for Jennifer to go through. But there is a lot of allegations that she talks about with Donnie Sr. When they were literally children. That goes into a lot of let's call it alleged sexual assault that happened at a time when they were kids. And so Donnie Sr., your uncle, just to get some background on Donnie Jr., because we want to talk a little bit about Johnny Jr., but they're kind of just in this particular podcast and in this article that I wrote on this after attending the bond hearing, there's some weird things that have been going on. But so you guys grew up in North Carolina. Donnie Jr. married his first wife. He was an adult at the time, but she was not. Is that correct?
She was 15. He was 18.
15. So he married a 15-year-old girl. She had to get, if I recall, you had said she had to get permission from her dad, her estranged father, because her mother wouldn't sign off on it. Is that right? Yeah. And so he was married to her. And what was her name? Monica. So he's married to Monica for a number of years, I think 12, before she passed at the age of 27, living somewhere near Gastonia, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a conversation with one of your other sisters, who would also, Donnie Sr. would be her uncle as well. And she was with Monica and Donnie the night that Monica died.
Yes.
And according to her, she felt that Monica knew that Donnie was cheating on her with...
Always knew. She always knew.
Monica always knew. And he was cheating on her with who?
Wynette, the one he's married to now.
Wynette.
Yes.
Got it. And so this was what,
26 years ago.
26
This
years ago.
August.
But together, and by the way, so and your sister alleges that she felt that Monica had kind of confronted him that night about it, and it kind of came to a head. And then the next thing you know, she dies of
Sleep apnea, choking on a piece of candy. We never were quite sure. Different
Yeah, I'm
story.
surprised that the Gastonia police never really investigated that too much.
So they lived in Gaston County, but she was taken to Lincoln County.
Say that again?
They lived in Gaston County, but she was taken to Lincoln County.
Do you know why?
Yeah, because in the little town we lived in, Lincoln was closer than going to Gastonia.
Okay. So, but during that marriage, Donnie Sr. and Monica had a child, a boy, named Donnie Birchfield Jr., who you are his
cousin.
Okay. And as I recall, you had mentioned something about that Donnie Sr., Monica, and Donnie Jr. would go around to different churches and, I guess, sing. They had a little group.
So they did tent revivals, they did churches, they did ballparks. If you had something at the ballpark, anywhere, radio stations, anywhere they could sing gospel music, they sung gospel music. They
Okay.
made tapes and CDs and sold those.
Did he have another job besides that?
They both worked at Ace TV Rentals in Dallas, North Carolina.
TV rentals?
Yes, Ace TV Rentals.
I didn't know you could rent a TV.
You could back then.
I think I remember those places like you could rent a couch and other thing. I'm like, who wants to rent a couch? Anyway, so he had a Donnie Jr. Let's jump forward to July of last year. Donnie Jr., I believe it was Donnie Jr., and had to call 911 because Shirley Arnsdorf was living in the basement on Churchill Drive at the Birchfield family home on Churchill Drive in Lancaster, South Carolina. She had passed away and was removed from the home at about 64 pounds. Am I pretty close on that? Yeah. And her husband was also taken. He is still alive. I spoke with a source last week, I think it was last week, who had seen him afterward and had known him prior, and it was not the same person. He was down to about 80, 81 pounds. And as I understand it, both Shirley and her husband were mentally challenged. Should I put it that way? And I believe both of them were on some sort of disability for their mental challenges.
That's my understanding.
Okay. And then to make a crowded basement even more crowded, there were two other individuals that were living into that basement.
Yes.
Do you know who those people were?
Brittany came there 10, almost 11 years ago. She came as Donnie Jr.'s girlfriend. The second girl, Porphyria, I don't know when she came in, where she came from. I've never heard of her until this story broke.
Okay.
And
Well, let's back up this train a little bit. So Donnie Jr. is approximately 35 years old.
Mhm.
And Brittany moved into their house about 10 or 11 years ago, you said, right? So that puts Donnie Jr. at about 25 years old.
Yes.
As I understand it, when Brittany moved in, she was underage.
Yes, she was.
And does anybody know where her parents were? Did they approve of this? Were they church members? I don't.
My understanding, her mama was a church member at one point. Not now, but at one point she was a church member. And so was Brittany.
And so was Brittany. So, since Donnie Jr. didn't attend that church, where did she come from?
She had to have been brought home by somebody. Donnie Jr. did not attend church.
Well, Donnie Jr. doesn't even drive. Doesn't have a driver's license, as far as I know.
No.
Well, if Brittany's mother or family or friends are watching this episode, please reach out to me. Go to crimeandcast.com. I'd love to know the background on that, because she lived there for approximately 10 years.
Mhm.
From an underage child.
She was 14.
14?
Mhm. She's been in my grandma's apartment several times when she was younger, about 10 years ago, because Wynette did not approve of the underage relationship. Wynette didn't want Brittany in her home because she was underage. It could get us in trouble. It can get you in trouble. So he would sneak around with the girl in the house.
Junior.
Wynette was totally, from my understanding of what I was told by my mama, Wynette was not approving of the relationship between Donnie Jr. and Brittany because Brittany was still a kid. Wynette
Did
was.
she go to school there? No?
I don't think she did, because I don't think Donnie Jr. ever went to school past the age of 11.
Wow. And then, how do you pronounce the second girl's name?
Barphilia.
Barphilia was also a minor.
Yes, she was. I
So-
don't know too much about that one because I hadn't spoke to Donnie Jr. probably 6 months prior to his being arrested. And we didn't talk about private lives like that. We just basically talked about what was going on since my mama had passed.
Yeah. How old was Wynette when she married Senior?
Clue. I don't know how old she is now.
Oops.
When Donnie married Wynette, he kept that part away from the family that he had always been around. He became someone totally different after he married Wynette.
Well, my camera just stopped. I'll try to get it going. And can you see me? Because I look. You can?
Yes.
Oh, because I'm looking at all I see is a dark picture. Okay. Well, maybe everybody else can. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what happened to my camera. Let me just make sure. Yeah. Says it's on. Well, this is what happens when you do these shows. You get these things going on. Okay. So I think we've got most of the background on this. And I'm going to go through in just a second the article that I wrote on this bond hearing, because this was an interesting one. Okay, so now we're going into the bond hearing, and I want to share with everybody a picture. I had a first row sitting in the courtroom. By the way, you didn't go to the bond hearing.
No, I had to babysit my grandson, my daughter's anniversary. And but when trial starts, I'm going to be the first one there. I'm 3 hours away.
Yeah.
So it would have been a waste, really, to have went and then just had to turn around and come back. But when the actual trial starts, I'm going to be there.
Got it. Well, here is your cousin, Donnie Jr.
And that's a shame to see him like that, because if you had ever met Donnie Jr. before this happened, you would have looked at him and thought he was the little church choir boy. That's clean cut, very well mannered. The Donnie Jr. I know. And now to look at him like this, I can see the evil in him.
Interesting, you would say that evil in him. He is, in this picture here, he is looking at his family. They can't, as they come in, I've been to a number of these, they can't, interact with the people in the crowd. All he got to do was just that look right there when he walked in, and then I don't think he did on the way out. Yeah, man, that orange jumpsuit, I mean, the thing looks like it didn't washed in a month.
That's the look that on his face that I didn't know who he was looking at because I wasn't there. But that look on his face in the letter I wrote to him after the bond hearing, I asked, looks so angry. Why are you angry? You should be angry, but not for the reasons you think.
Right. Yeah, he's looking at his dad and maybe his sister. But that's where they were sitting. So where I was sitting was right behind the prosecution, and then they were behind the defense table. And so you can see as he's coming in, I'm to his, he's to my left, far left, and they're closer to the door. So he walks in and he looks for him, and he sees him walking in. Let me get through this here. By the way, today's episode is sponsored by Boone's Investigation Services. If you are looking for a private investigator in the state of South Carolina, look no further than this licensed by the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division private investigator day in South Carolina. Look up Boone's. You can go to the website crimecast.com. We have a link there. Just go ahead and click on that. It'll take you right to it. So bond is denied, and we kind of set this article up where the prosecutors describe this case as prolonged and torturous. They use the word torturous abuse in a situation involving vulnerable adults, which we have talked about, the Arnsdorfs, Mr. and Mrs. being vulnerable adults. Confined, and the word confined was used by the prosecution numerous times, confined in the basement. And so this was a bond hearing to decide whether he should stay in jail for the time he has between now and trial, or that he could be released. And we'll talk about that, of where he wanted to be released and where his defense wanted him released and where his father wanted him released. And just again, for the accusations here, we have Shirley Arnsdorf was 64 pounds at the time of her death. She stood 5'1". You can imagine there's nothing to her. And of course, her husband, also frail, reportedly weighing in at about 80 pounds, and he wasn't much taller, 5'2". He has survived, he's lived. And I believe he has spoken to law enforcement as well. And then we talked about the two young women. And the authorities at this bond hearing characterized the environment in the basement in the house where the victims were isolated with their access to their phones, or any phone was restricted, and they were subject, according to the prosecution, to ongoing control and abuse. Does that sound like people you know?
It sounds like everybody I know in my family, yes.
Oh, Lord. So here's the defense. His defense attorney for Donnie Jr. pushed back, and I want to talk to you about this because there's some things here that he says that I know you and I have talked about and talked about with your sister that just doesn't seem to add up. And so they're pushing back on the prosecution's narrative, arguing that there is no direct evidence tying their client, Donnie Jr., to the alleged acts. And according to the defense, he says there's 100 hours of law enforcement body cam footage that has been reviewed and does not show Junior committing assault, strangulation, or any act involving a broomstick. And as my understanding is, and this is going to get, I don't know how to describe this. You might want to fast forward ahead if you don't want to listen to this, but it's alleged that the broomstick was used on Shirley Arnsdorf in her private areas of her body to invade her body. As lightly as I can put it. Is that fairly?
Yeah, that's fairly accurately.
Okay.
Nice way.
There's really no nice way. But
what I would say, if there is a nice way.
Right, yeah. So the defense further argued there's no clear indication of starvation. I don't even want to know what 5'1" and 64 pounds looks like, but
5'6", and I ain't gonna tell you what I weigh, but if I would got down to 81 pounds, I'm pretty sure at 5'6", I'm still gonna be a little bitty twig.
You're right. And no indication, according to the defense, of physical assault attributable to Birchfield Jr. And that's interesting. If it's not attributed, if it happened, and it's not, according to the defense, attributed to Junior, then who is it attributed to?
You know, speculation and just assuming things. You could assume that the girls did it. You could assume, but
you could assume everybody did it, but you're just assuming.
Junior's the one that lives in the basement with them all. Junior's the one that is supposed to be the caretakers for Shirley and Alvin. So no matter who did it, why did Junior not stop it?
Right.
But they all had a hand in it, and that may be why there's no evidence that says Donnie Jr. did it, because they all did.
Well, additionally, the defense asserted that Donnie Birchfield Sr., who's pictured here, standing talking before the judge, he owns that property on Churchill Road and occupied the evidence with his wife, Wynette, and at one time, Gracie, I think, still lives there, and at one point, Grady, who's no longer living there, and at the time of almost a year ago, Donnie Birchfield Jr. was living there. So, and then you have the two other girls. It was a busy place. But they allege that the defense alleges that Senior was unaware that individuals were living in the basement.
There is no way possible he was unaware, because when my mama and my stepfather visited, Mama would sit upstairs and talk to Wynette. But Lee always got put in the basement with Donnie Jr. and Alvin and whoever else was down there. They'd play video games. They'd hang out until Mama and Lee got ready to leave, and then Lee would come out of the basement. But Lee, I don't think ever hung out upstairs with Donnie Sr. and Wynette and Mama. He was always in the basement playing video games with Alvin and little Donnie. Mama and traveled with Alvin and Shirley.
So where would the defense get that Donnie Birchfield Sr. was unaware that individuals were living in?
Is a lying bastard.
Allegedly.
The first words I said when I heard him speak in court, and I even wrote that to Donnie Jr. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. He's your daddy, but he's my abuser, and he's a lying piece of shit. That is what I told Donnie Jr. in the letter. And
that's your opinion, right?
That's my opinion, yes. My family ain't no good. They look like they are. They look like the perfect little church family. But they're all demented underneath, I promise you.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, and you had mentioned before that you had said, and I quoted you in this article, that we all knew that those people were down there, but what went on, we don't know. But I'm sure the
Not
people in the house upstairs have to have known a little bit of something.
a little bit. I mean, because my mama knew a little bit just from traveling with them. She came back and told me that Donnie Jr. was mean to Alvin and Shirley, that he was mean to my stepfather. I even told my stepfather the other day, I don't know why you're still friends with any of them. They treat you like garbage. They have always talked about him. They have always made fun of him. In front of his face, they make fun of him. And it's just a joke. It's all in fun. That's not in fun. Some of them words they say to other people is not about fun. That's the part of that torturous abuse. Donnie Sr. has deleted everybody off of Facebook except for my stepfather, but he won't talk to me.
Mm.
Just wonder why he keeps him on there. Mama said that Brittany and Donnie Jr. used
Lee is his name.
Lee. Yes,
We should get Lee to talk to us on here.
we should. I'll ask him next time because he'll be a hoot. I'm telling you, he's got more stories than we do.
Well, hello, Lee. We want you on the show. All right.
Lee has always been the best of people, but for the Birchfields to treat him the way they did, and it's all for fun and games, no, it's not. It's because they think they're better than he is. I don't even know why my mama put up with it, but she was a Birchfield.
Yeah. So the judge ended up denying the bond, which means he has to stay in jail. He's in, I think, the Lancaster County Sheriff's Detention Center. He heard arguments from both sides. So what the one argument was that Donnie Jr., his father, wanted him, Jr., to come home to the house at 425 Churchill Road, where the House of Horrors, as we call it,
Yeah,
allegedly
that was
occurred.
that was kind of stupid to ask. I think, in my own opinion, because you're asking for bond to let him come home to the scene of the crime, the place where it took place there.
Yeah.
Donnie Jr. lived in the basement, so if he comes home, he's going back to the basement.
Right. Well, let's listen. Let's listen to your uncle here.
He's never even had a driver's license. If you allow him bond, if he has to go anywhere, it'd be me taking him, or his sister, who is 20 years old, that lives at the house. Our family has resided in our home for the past 13 years. We're buying our home. I've been the pastor of a wonderful church for the past 17 years, same church. Many of our church leaders are here this morning in support of Donnie Jr. because they have been around him. They know what's going on. Our investigators that work for the attorney have found no evidence of criminal activity on Donnie's behalf. The DNA evidence speaks for itself. And I've always believed you're innocent until proven guilty. And I believe that with my whole heart. We sincerely ask for this first step of justice by granting a bond, even, whatever conditions you put on it, Your Honor. Thank you for your time this morning.
Yeah, that whole thing was a joke. That whole thing was a joke. He's been a preacher for 17 years. Okay, anybody can be a preacher. That don't mean you're a man of God. I've been in churches where the preachers have took a stand down because they said they had not been living right for God. So just because he's a preacher, that don't mean nothing. That's a title. That ain't your personality, and that ain't who you are. That's a title.
Hmm.
And that's all that man has is a title, because he don't have no God or a position he's in.
So he did say he lived there for 10 years or 13 years. 10 of those 13 years, an underage girl started living there and stayed in his basement for 10 years. Now, unless Brittany is a ghost, which I don't think she is. By the way, Brittany, if you're listening, I'd love to talk to you too. I don't know how you account for that. I didn't know. We didn't know people were in the basement. We've got friends, family. Everybody says everybody knew that they were living down there. The
Yeah,
Arnsdorfs were there. The girls were there.
yet Brittany has been having dinner upstairs with the family. But he didn't know she went downstairs to the basement when dinner was over. Who
Well,
took her home? So Donnie don't drive.
well,
How'd she get there? Because Donnie Jr. don't drive.
how do you not go in your basement for 13 years?
Exactly. Even my stepfather has said that one aunt will come to the basement door and open the door and holler down and say, "Hey, there's food up here if you want anything to eat." He said he has been there. You get DoorDash delivered, it comes to the main door, but it's for downstairs.
Uh,
All things that my stepfather said has happened.
excuse me. So there's more. And this is where things get weird. Are you ready for this one?
Hmm.
There he is standing in court. This is about what he had the whole time. He either had to stand or sit in front of the judge. And he was leaving. I guess he kind of nodded to his family as he walked out.
Let everybody know so we can jump on that as opposed to just letting it.
Okay. Who is this standing there holding his phone?
That's Donnie Sr.
Donnie Sr. Okay. So let me tee this up for you. I go to the bond hearing. I put in my request to the judge to bring in a phone and the camera and all these things. I go through security and I sit there and we do the bond hearing and I leave. And I'm going out to my vehicle and it's right across the street. That brick you see there that they're staying on, they're on the courthouse grounds. I'm across the street in the parking lot. I literally get into my vehicle. I start driving out to leave and I hear all this yelling going on. And I'm like, who's yelling? Where is all this yelling come from? I'm literally looking around like, what in the hell is that? And I look across the street and I see this picture of these people holding this guy back and they're screaming. And then I'm looking around. I'm like, who are they screaming at? And I'm looking around and there's nobody around. I'm like, they're yelling at me. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, how did they see me? Unless they know what kind of vehicle I drive, which is even more weird. So I literally pulled over at the exit of the parking lot, rolled my window down, got out of the car, and I started filming. And this is what I got. And I want you to watch this. We can watch it again if you want to. By the way, the guy in the brown jacket who has his back to us, that is the private detective for the family that, according to Donnie Sr. said in his statement, found no evidence, zero, that Donnie did anything. So if Donnie Jr. didn't do anything, according to this private investigator here, and the woman died 61 pounds, and her husband, if Donnie Jr. didn't do it, who did?
Exactly.
All right, let's play this. Who's that in the dress?
It's Gracie.
She's not smiling.
And if I'm not mistaken, Lynette is in the red or the pink. She's somewhere. That may be her. That's
Yeah, they got to hold him back. Their PI doesn't look too happy.
Now, I'll say this. They may have looked like they were holding him back from coming over to you. That is not what was going on. That's what y'all see. But being inside the family, what I see is he wasn't going to come over there and do anything.
Uh-huh.
You trying to get you to show out. That way he can go back and say, see how crazy this man is. I wasn't doing anything wrong when he attacked me. That's what they do to people. That's what they've done to me my whole life. I am quick to jump. If you run your mouth on me, I'm going to knock you out. And then the one that gets in trouble, and I'm the crazy one, and I look like I'm the troublemaker. And they look like the good one. They going to try to do it to me when I come into the courthouse for trial. But Jennifer's on lithium now. So they're not going to be able to bait me. I don't want to show my tail and be the bad one. This ain't about being better than they are. This is about seeing that everybody gets justice.
So let me ask you a question. Well, actually, we'll hold that. So you believe, based off of what you saw, let me just play this again, because you believe he was trying to bait you. You're gonna push him.
Because then you're not better. Your story's with me.
I want to get the picture of this PI again. He's like, come on, man, stop. And all I did literally is I stood there with my camera, filming them, just waiting to see what they were doing. I stayed there, I don't know, a couple of minutes maybe, and then as I pulled away, some woman started. I think it was the woman in the. Well, I don't know who it was. I think it was the one in the teal jacket there, but it could have been somebody else. They started coming out after my vehicle in the road as I'm pulling away. I'm like,
it was all about trying to bait you. You wouldn't be credible anymore if you had done something stupid. Not everybody has that willpower not to jump.
I mean, I didn't even wave. I didn't say anything. I didn't wave. I didn't. I just stood
that's
there.
what I'm working on, is my ability not to react to stuff like that, because that is where they get you at.
See, he's got the camera on me.
Mm-hmm. And that's what he wanted. He wanted it on film that you did something stupid, but you didn't do anything. You did what you're supposed to do. And maybe why it wasn't meant for me to be there. God does work in ways that we don't know about. And
so let me ask you this. So going to a court hearing, trial, it's kind of like going to a wedding. Are you with the bride or are you with the groom? Oh, the bride sits over here, groom sits over here. they always put the press behind in the first row behind the prosecution. So my question to you is, and you may not have an answer to it, and that's okay if you don't. What side are you going to sit on?
In the beginning, I can honestly say I would have been on the defense side for Donnie Jr. And that's my cousin, and I still love him no matter what he did. But now, I believe I'm going to be for the prosecution side because those families need justice. Those victims shouldn't have gone through what they did. And I realize Donnie Jr. is also a victim himself, but he's not in this case. He is the monster in this case. And I want to see justice done for these victims. I was one of their victims as well, and I'd like to see justice for their victims.
Yeah, it was just weird. And to start yelling at me as I was pulling out, I didn't even know who they were. I didn't know who was yelling. I didn't even know it was them.
Well, they kind of don't like you anyways because you're speaking to me. It ain't even about me and Leanne. It's about me. And, Leanne was busy and had something to do today, but I really wanted to do this on my own without her today because it's me that's always been the outcast. It's me that they don't want nobody talking to. Senior will not be yelling at me at trial like he did you. Gracie may, why not May? Senior won't mess with me. He tries to get as far away from me as possible. And that ain't because I went crazy on him one time. That's just because of what he did to me.
Yeah.
He's the only person I've never went crazy on. And unfortunately, maybe I should have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just all that was all immature stuff. Just because they want you to shut up.
Well, yeah.
They
Listen, there's a lot of people that want me to shut up, but
want me to shut up, but you can't get me to talk.
I just go out and try to investigate and tell everybody the truth. By the way, with the help of Boone's Investigation Services out of South Carolina, if you're looking for a PI, contact Boone's. Go to crimeandcast.com, check it out. But there is more to this. Can you believe this?
Yes.
Yeah. So the judge had asked them. Let me take this off. The judge had asked them, the prosecution and the defense, when do you think we can take this thing to trial? And the prosecution was like, oh, we have got a lot of discovery to do. They had additional forensic analysis to do, which is interesting to me because they did say that there was a male DNA found on or about Shirley Arnsdorf's body somewhere, and it's not Donnie Jr.'s.
It's not Donnie,
and
it's not.
It's not her husband.
And
did Donnie ever have any guy friends?
There's only one other man in the house, and that's Donnie Sr. And I know you have to be careful on what you speculate and allege and all this and that. But I've said it to other family members since, and I'll say it now. Knowing the senior that I know, that I personally know, it wouldn't put it past him to have done anything with Shirley, Barfilia, or Brittany.
In your opinion?
My opinion, he was probably, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he had multiple girlfriends when he was married to Monica. He likes the children because I am a victim. What would stop him?
I don't know. Being a pastor at a church for 17 years?
Don't stop with one.
I know. They had a lot of pretrial motions, but they also said they had a tremendous amount of financial documents they had to go through. Bank statements, credit card statements, all these things. And so without them saying it, it would appear that they're trying to figure out what monies the Arnsdorfs had coming in and who controlled those monies and who spent those monies. So
It seems like it's part of if you really dive into everything, like the Frank Wentz or Frank case, her uncle, one uncle. It seems to me, and what they were trying to do with my grandma, it seems to me like some kind of organized crime where they get these people and then take over their finances, and then these people are without their finances. It just seems like it's happened too many times with them.
I'll go into the Franklin thing here in a second because I've got some information on that. But as I said, I had a new source come forward after the bond hearing. And of course, you had said we all knew that there was people down there, right? Now this second source comes, and it's a person close to Alvin. Alvin is the husband. And this source spoke on a condition of being anonymous. But they're raising similar concerns. And I quote this source saying, "There is no way that you did not know 4 other people lived in your house, not for 10 years."
I live 300 miles away from them, and I knew that there was people in that basement. I know what was going on in that basement.
So that
women upstairs know that you got people in your basement.
Yeah, and this person said that Alvin was particularly vulnerable due to his limited mental capacity, and he had some long-term health issues, which made him more susceptible to control or exploitation. And the source went on to say that Arnsdorf, he did occasional jobs, Alvin did, and relied in part on his disability support from the government. So he was on disability.
Yes.
So I'm trying to think here in the rest of the article. I get you in the back there. Yeah, it's the financial exploitation questions that they're going over. And the court had presented, at least the prosecution said, they wouldn't be able to go and maybe late this fall, winter. And the judge said, well, let's just plan. I'll get back to you in the fall. And so it's more likely it's going to be in the first quarter of 2027, sometime in January, February, or March of 2027. So, but here's what's interesting, and I'm just going to recap this because we've done a whole episode on this. And this is what I find really interesting is this person right here, and he was fairly, call it locally famous, owned a restaurant in Lancaster. And his name was Franklin or Frank Delano Evans Sr. And he died. He is related to Juanette. I think it's his niece. His wife, Dorothy Dot. There's not enough dots in this world, right? Dot Evans. She passed away prior to him. And here's what's weird. He in her obituary, they listed 2 sons, Franklin Dale Evans Jr. and Brian Franklin Evans. I think maybe you know, I think that Brian Franklin may have been, this is complete speculation on this, but this is what I've heard, may have been adopted. That the only real blood heir, I could be wrong, but I'm just putting this out there for you, was Franklin Dale Evans Jr., who is currently serving time in the South Carolina Department of Corrections, I believe, for a murder charge. He gets out in like 2040, something like that. But when Frank Evans was alive, he made his personal power of attorney his niece, Wynette Birchfield, or her niece's husband, Donnie Birchfield. And that allowed them to be able to open and close deposit funds, banking, endorse checks, pay bills, sell the mortgage, things of those sort. And but they are not the heirs to the estate. The listed heir is Frank Evans Jr., who's currently in prison. Now, just because you're in prison doesn't mean that you stop being the heir. You're still the rightful legal heir. But what was weird about that is that the house that he owned was sold for $260,000. Okay. But Zillow, and Zillow is not the end all, let's appraise houses, but all the houses in the area were about the same, about somewhere in the 350 to 384, 385 range. So why do you sell a house that's worth $350,000 to $380,000 for $260,000? That doesn't make any sense. So, yeah. And there's a Chevrolet truck that he owned. I think it's still at the house over on Churchill Drive. You've got the missing son, which is even more weird. And here is the current heir. And I spoke with someone close to him who said he can't get any money. So in prison they have, it's called a canteen, where they can put money on it and they can go buy whatever the canteen has, something that's not in the just random stuff. Well, he has to basically beg for money, which is weird because he should be able to just have access, do it anytime he wants to.
He should have money put on his books every day. Not just $1,000 asked for it.
I mean, somebody has $260,000 from the proceeds of that house.
And the other son, even if he was just adopted, that don't make sense of why he was cut out and he's nowhere to be found. Because
he's found. I think he lives in Raleigh or something along those lines. But yeah, his projected release date is January 25th, 2041. He's currently how old is he? I think he's he's in his 50s, late 50s. I mean, he'll get out. He'll be 80 years old, but maybe less than that.
And
math is wrong.
It will become somehow caretaker of him too. It seems that's what they do to get money.
Yeah. Here's the sale of the house, personal representative deed. There's a lot going on. Let's just put it that way.
I believe when trial starts, we're all going to be blown away, because I guarantee you, as much and as bad as what we know, there's stuff we don't know. Like, what is Grady saying? Grady's going to be the key part in all of this, I believe.
Could you imagine if, I understand the police have talked to him. And can you imagine if he told them everything?
Oh, God. And I couldn't imagine.
You still don't know where Grady is?
From my understanding, he's somewhere in South Carolina at this moment.
He is off the grid.
He is off the grid.
Literally.
He will be found.
Yeah.
And if he's went through just even half of what I can imagine he's went through, I don't blame the kid for getting out. In a way, I'm kind of lucky that I got out the way I did. I married and got away, and I tried to always stay away.
Yeah.
My mama was alive. That kept sucking me back in, because, that was my mama. And every time I want to be around my mama, I'm going to have to put up with her family. But now it's gone. I don't have to put up with any of them, and I don't.
Yeah.
My grandma, she's doing okay. We got her back home. and she knows Donnie Jr.'s in jail, but in her head, Donnie Jr. didn't do this. And I told her, "You're right, Granny." I said, "The Donnie Jr. we know did not do this because he's not the Donnie Jr. we used to know." So that's all I can tell her is, "You're right, Granny. Donnie Jr. didn't do this. Not the little Donnie we know."
Yeah. Well,
No.
let's wrap this up. It's been an interesting talk and following up on this bond hearing and what happened out in that parking lot. And let's try to get Lee.
That's what I was getting ready to say, that I'm going to call Lee, and next time we do this, we're going to have to get him on. He's one of them that really don't know how to use certain things on his cell phone, but we can teach him how.
I mean, this is pretty easy. I literally send you a link, you click on it, and it takes you right to it, right? If he knows how to text, or if he does Facebook. I mean, I sent it to you, I think, on Facebook. But anyway, a lot going on in the Birchfield family. Apparently, they do not like me.
Like me, and I'm blood related.
Oh, by the way, and for the record, it was reported what they had done. So maybe that had something to do with Donnie not being able to be released. Not that I thought the judge was ever going to do it in the first place, but their actions were not.
Their actions are showing they're just as crazy, but their actions are for a reason. They are trying to bait people so that they end up looking like the better ones.
Well,
But
I'm definitely
not.
used to that. People, I'm yeah. You know who hates me? The criminals and corrupt judge. Well, not judges. I haven't got any judges yet, but certainly corrupt sheriffs, corrupt law enforcement, which not very many, but the criminals. Man, I'll tell you, the criminals do not like me whatsoever.
Anybody doing wrong hates those that are telling the truth about what they're doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, you stay good and tell your sister hello. And yeah, let's get Lee on because I'd love to know what interactions happened in that basement. What he had to do, what he had to say, what it was like staying there, interactions he had with the Arnsdorf. I think that would be interesting. And the Brittany and was it Barfella?
We never met Barfilia, but just about everybody. Brittany.
So, Brittany and Barfilia, you are open to come out here and chat as well. And anybody else that has any information on this would like to go live in public, we can talk about it. This is Crime and Cask. We're talking about the Birchfields in Lancaster, South Carolina. And this episode's been brought to you by Boone's Investigation Services out of South Carolina. If you are looking for a SLED licensed private investigator in South Carolina, they can do all kinds of stuff. I was amazed at what private investigators can do. I mean, they can put trackers on your car legally, legally film you, follow people, anything you're looking for, whether it be you're going through a divorce or a criminal case or just, I don't know, but give a shout out to Boone's. Go to crimeandcast.com, click on the link, Boone's Investigative Services, and they'll take care of you. Jennifer, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming on. We got a little music to send us out. We'll talk to you later. Get Lee on the phone with us.
I will.
All right, dear. You take care. Thanks.